Recording live from somewhere. It's the world's famous TITT. It's home team in the motherfucking house.
No question.
As always, it is I, Davis Backwards, and who state your name, gangsta?
Man, it's Philmatic 365, aka man, the blue torch bearer.
Yeah, man. Before this, did you really know what live was?
Absolutely not.
That's right. As always, we like to give a shout out to everybody that's out there rocking with us, listening to us now, whether you're listening tomorrow, next week, or next month, or even next year. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to rock with the heat holders.
Absolutely.
To rock with the movement that is Tissue and the Tape. We are the home of the MC. We definitely are conservationists.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to do conservation through conversation. And with that in mind, just want to give a shout out to just a couple of our family members that we rock with, some of our affiliates. Of course, always want to give a shout out to War Room Sports Podcast Network.
The big bros.
That's right. More specifically, the War Room, Jimmy, Devin B. Austin. Also, the Burtons, Join Appetit. You can check them out as well. Two of the best podcasts that you could check out.
Absolutely.
Definitely want you to check out tallyandtwine.com. You can check out watches there for all the things that are coming up this spring and even for the summertime. You know, get your wrist right. Fine timepieces.
Fine time. The finest.
That's right. Shout to Randy, holding it down. Of course, definitely want to give a shout out to Stimulate Your Soul, the whole Farside.tv crew. You can check us out there in syndication. And yeah, man, tissueandthetape.com, as well as at Tissue and the Tape. You know, just that's what we are online. So you can check us out there as well.
Absolutely.
One last one before we actually get into what our conversation is about today. Hip Hoppreneur. It's Cedric Muhammad. We recently connected with him. He's doing some amazing work already. Former manager of Wu-Tang Clan. He's ventured out and he has a whole new.
Stop right there. I mean, that's
exactly.
Less.
Yeah, but he has a whole brand that he's established right now. Hip Hoppreneur. He's just giving the behind the scenes, just highlighting people that have made a life out of hip hop. You know, in the non-traditional sense, so to speak, not just, you know, beats and rhymes, but also through management, through artist development, and, you know, various other ways to get your, you know, everything is hip hop type of lifestyle off. Exactly. So, man, salute to him. Check him out on YouTube at Hip Hoppreneur on all social media. And last but not least, man, shout to you, brother. I mean, you know, you're a man now. You're 40. for those that don't know, if you didn't know our age, I guess we'll kind of expose it now. But Phil and I were both born in 1979. He just happened to be born, you know, like 7 months before me. So he's somewhat of the young OG right now. But man, how does it feel to be 40, man?
Feel like a man, yo. Well, you know how it feels because you saw me like right before we started recording.
Yeah,
I definitely was feeling the 40s, but this it ain't about me tonight, man. As much as I appreciate the love from everybody, got a lot of love. Definitely big shout outs to you, man, and the grown men, and you know everybody on social media for all the love, but. Man, we'll worry about that when we'll revisit it in November when we do the 40-40.
Oh yeah. We'll have a joint birthday celebration. But I mean, I guess that is a good way to kind of just get into what we want to talk about tonight. We kind of want to just I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things to where we've done a few episodes where we've had to, you know, to spend some time. Some of the ones that have stuck out was, of course, guys that we consider to be heroes, guys that we, you know, have felt like we almost knew them personally just based off of the life and words
Sean P.
Yeah, Prodigy.
This is different though. I mean,
this is a different one here. Those three were cases where there may have been, health issues that kind of took over, to where there was something that could have been prevented, but it was a long-term effect that just it just took its toll over time. Whereas with this one here, as we start to just talk about Nipsey Hussle, this was something to where you got to be careful sometimes on social media, just because they try to write everybody off. If you're not careful, everybody has suffered their demise at some point. If you're famous
everybody
enough.
Getting canceled.
Yeah, on social media. Yeah. So when we got the news, on that Sunday, it was one of those things where it was just like, man, I don't believe this. I need it from a more credible source. Please don't let this be true. God, no. And then it went from that to, basically, our worst fears being confirmed right before our eyes. So we took some time to actually kind of just, just let this, to
be able to deal, man.
There wasn't a great, I'll say this, there wasn't a great immediacy of need to actually just get on whatever platform we have. Of course we did, pay homage, on our pages and whatnot, but it just, in terms of us just lending our opinions and our voices to this, we just needed to take our time a little bit. And, really honestly,
I wasn't ready, man.
Yeah.
Like it just like, it was one of those things. Like, I took it personally as if Nip was one of my homies.
Yeah,
that's how it felt, and we'll get into it a little, but that's how it felt initially. Yeah. And it was like why? It's one of them things. Like, gun violence is it plagues our country, but the ultimate senselessness of this particular incident is just like, for that dude to get that fate, he definitely did not deserve that.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard everyone from, everybody that's ever been in contact with him has had something nice to say, but it's just one of those things where you hear it from unfamiliar, like
you heard it from the everyday, hardworking Joe, so to speak, to,
but like, even just
the most
like
famous athletes in the world,
right? Like the LAPD police chief, like
that one.
That's the one where it was just like, and anybody that's followed Nip, like he has been very adamant at kind of pointing out some of the things that LAPD has done to kind of make his and others that look like him, their lives more difficult. Even when they're trying to do the right thing, or they're in positions where they're trying to uplift others. There's still that divide between that particular community and the one of the most notorious police forces on the planet.
Yeah.
But to just hear them kind of just talk about how they couldn't believe that, that when they got the news and they were scheduled to actually speak to him about putting together some initiatives and, collaborating to brainstorm to find some just some solutions to help with, like you said, just the senseless gun violence and, just a lot of the angst and, the misunderstandings that are going on, not only in the neighborhoods, but also just between the community and the police. He was going to be right on the front line working on that, as he had been doing for so long. But he was on a bigger platform now. He's got these brands behind him. His voice
nominated.
Yeah. His voice is just a little bit more noticeable, recognizable, powerful. And just to see the reaction from that was definitely daunting to see. But let's just take it back a little bit. He's someone that we've spoken about on this show quite a bit. When we talked about our our favorite albums of 2018, we actually mentioned him, and there were some people that kind of got at us a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Not to name any names, but when we said Victory Lap, there was, and it's funny too. Like, if you can go back and look at this, but like, I saw a couple comments. People were just like, "Oh, word, that's what y'all is on," and I'm just like,
yeah.
Actually, that's exactly what we're on. I mean,
you should be too.
Yeah, I mean,
like why aren't you? Is really the
when you go back and look at who we really gave big props to last year. It was really three that stood out. It was of course J-Rock, who we essentially said had the best project of last year. It was Locksmith. Another California guy, and then we definitely gave props to Planet Asia too.
Yeah,
and then Nip.
Yeah, and then I thought
Cali heavy.
Definitely left side representing. But also Benny held it down.
Yes, I'm just saying just when you look at that, like we not only talked about just the mainstreamers, but we also talked about guys that weren't necessarily like, because like when you look at like Benny. Like, he's not he's no rookie, but he's one of those guys who are up and coming, and I think that kind of describes Nip's hustle, so to speak. Like the fact that we've been aware of him for 13, 14 years at this point, and now it's gotten to the point where the world, was starting to get to know him just based off of his celebrity relationship. The fact that he like you see a guy that was
all the cosigns.
Yeah, the cosigns, the brand partnerships. He was just getting all these different avenues of people that were becoming aware of who he was. And, from everybody that I know, whether it was a year ago, whether it was a week ago, everybody kind of had the same sentiment that was just like, yo, this guy can go.
Yeah.
And
he was so relatable to so many people.
Yeah.
Like shout out to my dudes at the barbershop who, when Victory Lap dropped, that's all they played. And throughout the year, that's all they played. And it's a testament to the album that it was Grammy nominated, because it's hard a lot of times for albums that come out early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Victory Lap dropped in February of 2018.
All-Star Weekend.
So for it to with no real mainstream play, to just continue, not like that's really needed these days as much, but it's still
helpful, especially when you're talking about Virginia barbershop.
But
what I'm saying? Like when you think about that, like in itself, like that is somewhat of an accomplishment, but it just shows like with quality.
And especially to go on to be Grammy nominated, like all the other albums that were Grammy nominated were national, branded artists.
Yeah, definitely.
With a lot of them with huge backings.
Yeah,
either their team or their label or some type of cosign.
Yeah, definitely.
Nip was his own cosign. I mean, he had people in his corner, of course, but it was. He's the definition of self-made. I like to think, and we've talked about this before. He's everything that hip hop is supposed to be in terms of the entrepreneurial spirit, the do-it-yourself mentality. The if they won't let me in, I'm gonna kick the door down. I'm gonna sell these out the trunk, metaphorically and literally. I'm gonna make them come to me. I'm gonna make them love me. Everything that hip hop was set up to be, that we've over the years have got away from and are kind of starting to go back to. He was that, and that's the thing that I think, or at least one of the things that will ultimately stand out even more than the music. He's one of those artists and that I think was way bigger than his music. His music was starting to become bigger and bigger, but his legacy will be more than what the music was.
Like we've had this conversation. He's someone in our group chats that had been mention a lot just based off of just the life that he lived that people could relate to, like you said, but also just even just away from the music, people just mess with him like that. Like we've had numerous people tell us like, yo, like I'm not necessarily into the music, but I'm 100% into just who he is, just as a.
I support the movement. You know, I know people that bought Marathon clothing that never heard any of his music, just off the strength that they like what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know,
proud to pay it'll go down as one of the greatest hip hop marketing schemes. Forget hip hop, music marketing schemes.
Yes, exactly. To put $100 price tag on a mixed CD and make people not feel bad for not paying it, but like how dare you not spend this $100 for what I'm offering you? You know, this is that work.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, got the huge cosign of cosigns from the big homie Jay. For Jay-Z, who's very rarely, if ever, on Twitter, to not only go on Twitter to make the purchase, but purchase several copies.
Yeah, he bought 100
at 100 a pop.
100 a pop. So it's at 10,000. 10 racks.
If you're gonna be a monkey. But I mean, but so that right there, like, just that showed you right there, like, somebody that had already did what Nip was trying to do, somebody that Nip obviously looked up to, and you can hear it all in the music, hustle and motivate, and various mentions of Jay throughout different songs.
Jigga with the rollie in the vest, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So you knew he felt, Jay's music, and for Jay to be like, yeah, I feel what this dude is doing, and to support him like that's one of the things. You can say whatever you want about Jay, and a lot of people do and will continue to. You gotta love that, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack.
This whole thing is whack. I kind of want to get into some of the because we talk about lyrics and we talk about emceeing a lot, but I think from a technical standpoint, I think it's refreshing when you hear someone from the West Coast. That's nice because it's one of those things where, even though they've had the spotlight, or they've had it, so to speak, at various different times, people always tend to look at some of the other stuff besides the fact that these guys are really putting together good music. They get some like the lifestyle that surrounds them,
women, whether in the weed, sticky green, no seats,
all those things, and it's just like, when you see, I mean, he had prolific on his face, and that was the definition of what he was over the course of definitely at least the last 9 years, from just being visible and just putting out project after project after project.
It's a marathon, bro.
It's a marathon. Let's talk a little bit about just some of our favorite, because I'm sure we have some listeners that may not necessarily be familiar with all of his work or some of his best work, or what we feel is his best work.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we leave everybody with a chance to check some things out, to maybe be educated a little bit. And if people are just wondering what all the fuss is about, like, we want to make sure that they know where they can kind of start.
And before we start, I had to give a shout out to my brother, because he did some God's work and put together a very definitive list of some of Nipsey's best work. So you can peep that on the Tissue and the Tape playlist for Apple Music and for Tidal. So they are both available. There's links on our link tree on our all our social media, so you can definitely.
That was one of those things too, where I was, initially just putting it together. I did it pretty quickly, but I was like, yo, I just want to just keep it at 33. Like, it just feels right, that number.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'm like, there's no way I can keep it at 33.
Yeah, it's certain joints like that's you know my dilemma with playlists is like,
yeah,
but
it's like, where do I stop?
yeah, exactly. But like when you sent me the first one, I was like, this is fire. But I was like, yo, which one? And then like we hadn't even talked. I was like, I'm gonna holler at him. I was like, yo, you should put this, and like when I went back and then refreshed and they was already there, I was like, it's like it was like the like I gave you the you know what I mean,
King and Duck,
Professor X, like one of them Jones.
Nah, it's just right, man. I mean, again, let's just start with Victory Lap, for example. Like, just looking at the way that it was put together so well from an arrangement standpoint, because it's kind of like it's his debut album, studio album.
Yeah,
it was like, I mean, he had been talking about Victory Lap being the name of the album from as far back as I can remember, from like 2013, like from Marathon.
It felt like Kanye, like how Ye had his whole shit laid out with the college dropout, all the way up.
People always ask, like, if you go back and look at some of the interviews from like 2014 and 15, I remember people would be like, yo, like, he would be like, Victory Lap's coming, it's coming. Victory Lap. And it's like, yo, that's a dope name for, like, just like you said, like with Ye, like college dropout, like late registration. Like, he was just kind of just keeping the brand going. And then when we finally heard that, like, his situation was straightened out, he had done a lot of interviews towards the end of 2017. Like, yo, we're about to drop the single, the album's on the way, like, let's go. We were just like, still gonna be Victory Lap? Like, like this, it was there gonna be just like a refreshing of it, and he just, like, he stuck with it. And I think that's a testament to, like, the type of marketing genius, like, that he had going on, because he really branded his movement in a way where now when you look at the checker stripe emoji on,
it's synonymous with
that's it as long as emojis exist, checker stripe, that's already called for, dog. That's it.
We got yours 4 and 5.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's that, like, it's funny, man. Here in VA they have checkered flag auto.
Yeah.
So you see cars and they have the dealership logo on them, and they got the the checkered flag.
Oh, yeah. My mom had one. She the Hyundai Excel she got from me.
but even when I see that, I think about Nip, so it's just crazy. Man. NASCAR was gonna have to run that, man. That was one of the things, man, that I like. One of the things where everything being hip hop. If he would have kicked off like the Indy 500 or the Daytona 500,
crazy.
That would have been
yeah,
man.
But yeah, to just go back and just talk about the debut, like, it was one of those things where, just looking at how it was arranged, it was like Victory Lap, the title track. It was just like that introduction. Like, if you had never really heard any of his other music, you would, like, that's a great introduction to him.
Yeah. And I'm sure that was, for a lot of people, that was their first, time,
really get into a project. Yeah.
So if that's the first time you've ever heard Nip, that's a great way to that makes you want to go back and like, yo, what else did this dude do?
Yeah.
And believe he had more.
Yeah, no, it's just when you just think about that, and then like the street banger rap niggas, like, right after that. So it's like,
hey, you already know you already know that's all me, man.
Yeah.
Like, let's get into it. We normally do top fives and everything, but this is for neighborhood. So we had to do a 6. We had to do a top 6.
Had to do a top 6.
Some of y'all know what that means.
Yeah. Shout to Russell, man. We'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah.
You want to just go one for one, like I go and then you go? And
okay.
You want to go like that?
All right. I had to I still write mine down.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, if we were just gonna just go, I'll go first. This track that I'm about to name now was one of the ones off of Extra Laps, and I remember how I was introduced to it was I was kind of just listening. You know, I'll just have music on in the background, and then you know how something doesn't sound like the rest of like a project that you're listening to, and I was like, I had to like get up and like check my phone like to make sure I was still on the same thing. It's Bulgari Shades. It sounds like he's like in like an island somewhere. Very tropical feel to it, but at the same time, very much him. Switched up his flow a little bit, like was a little like playing with some, you know, like just the creative part of it. But yeah, that one always stuck out to me just because it was just a little bit far away from just the regular, just like Crenshaw and Slauson type of feel. It was definitely more just like celebration. Anytime we can hear, you know, guys get away from their regular grind and celebrate a little bit and give you some marinating music, it's all good. So
you know,
that's
marinate music.
Yeah, but you know, that was my first one that I had that was in like my top 6, Bulgari Shades.
Okay, now for me, you know, along that very same line, when you hear a song, like you're listening, you got a vibe, and then you get a song that doesn't quite sound and feel like the rest of them, and it's just, but it's right up your alley. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Face the World, man.
Mm-hmm.
That you know everything about that is all me. Like anybody that knows me and knows my particular favorite brand of hip hop, you know, soul samples and you know, that was Ninth being Ninth at his finest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it was like right in the middle of like Crenshaw's. I mean, we'll talk, but that's like probably my favorite Nip project anyway. But yeah, Face the World is just him dropping gems about, you know, being a man and just handling responsibility, and you know, the life is he was really just spitting game about life, and you know, being ready for the situations when they present themselves, and you know, 6 words help you feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Just rapping on some Crip shit. Like I mean, it was just yo, that's the song that I was like, yo, anything this dude do moving forward, I'm rocking with it, because that was the one for me. So
yeah. All right, so we got Bulgari Shades for me. We got Face the World for you.
Mm-hmm.
So please, people, if you're looking, if you haven't gotten to our playlist that we compiled on Tidal and Apple Music, please maybe take some notes and put these songs together, and you'll have a nice little playlist already off of this.
Mm-hmm.
Next joint I want to just highlight real quick is 7 Days a Week. Another joint from the Marathon series, particularly on the Marathon itself. You know, just stuck out. I mean, it definitely just talks about his mentality, like no days off, which is always something. Yeah, but like just always just in that mode of like getting better, making sure his people are in the same a better position, or at least get into the position he's at, and you know, just handling the business, no days off, 7 days a week, and you know, it just fit with that marathon concept. Obviously, you know, speaks for itself in that respect. What about you?
We mentioned it earlier, but I ain't like you fucking rap niggas.
Yeah.
Like that, like we often talk about the people who we believe really are the people they say they are in the music. He was one of those guys for me, and this song is like one of those songs that kind of reaffirms my belief. You know, it was just like it was like when I would hear Beans, like, you know, like or Jay's like, I'm just a hustler that know how to rap, you know, that kind of shit, or you know, just certain people, you like, or it always made me think about it, like, no, I'm not like you, rapper.
Yeah.
But it was just Nip going hard. This was, to me, this was like a West Coast trap song.
Mm-hmm.
Like if West Coast was making trap music, that's what that would be for me. Like I could see that being at a concert and everybody just going ham when that came on, you know. And
it had some dope elements too, because like just listening to it, like of course, like it had like the, like you said, like the 808s to it, but
yeah,
also like it had the towards the end of the verse, it had the
that West Coast.
Yeah, it was like okay.
The West Coast like, Rusty Wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, but it was like I'm doing this, but don't get it twisted. Like it's still, I still got some elements of like the you know.
This is still
that was dope.
This is still California.
That's like my favorite part of that song. Like actually,
yo, anytime that's in the song, yo, I got like Real Compton City G's.
Yeah.
When that joint comes on, or Dope Man,
yeah.
It's just certain when you hear that sound, it's like, oh shit.
Make the hairs of your stand up a little bit. Like, okay. Yeah. All right, so definitely rap niggas. You See Us. Another one off Crenshaw. It's at the top of that one.
That's like the first for the second. This is
second joint.
Crenshaw Boulevard is first.
It's cool because he flexes with his pen a little bit on that one. Like it's not just like, you know, he kind of took a metaphoric look to what he showed you, like watch, look, see, kind of play with the words a little bit with it. You know, again, something, you know, that kind of just added to you know, his technical side as an MC. So that was dope to see. Obviously You See Us is up there for me. What about you, man?
My next joint was Nipsey and YG, man. Last time I checked.
Yeah.
And that right there, that would, first of all, the visual for that was amazing to see, because you know everybody knows Nipsey was a Crip, YG is Blood, so those guys doing a video together, it was already a great thing to see. But just the visual of, you know, Nip with the red background, YG with the blue background, and you know them being side by side. YG having the all red on, Nipsey having the blue on. So they were just kind of playing off each other's sets, and then that was like a club banger, but it was still gangster shit. It had that good West Coast feel to it. And that was from Victory Lap, and it had a dope video, and I imagine West Coast radio played the hell out of that. I have to imagine that was just on heavy rotation.
For sure. That was like their partnership or their friendship had really started to really evolve. Just when we thought that they had peaked with Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They come with this joint, and it's just like, okay, like
this was what I could see was like this with them being like eventually getting to a best of both worlds type thing.
Yeah.
You know, best of both hoods or whatever they were going to call it. But I could have seen that coming from just based off those two songs that we just mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
So, man.
Yeah. Oh, and anytime you get a chance to say fuck Donald Trump, like,
oh, let's go. Fuck him.
It's normally a good thing, I guess. But kind of staying on Victory Lap a little bit. This is the first one that I had that was off of that Dedication. And the reason why I say this is in like my top or my favorites, because like when you see someone finally get to a level where you can see where it's going and they just need just that extra push. A song with Kendrick Lamar doesn't hurt. But besides that, it also speaks to the principles, you you know, that they both really abide by what Nip is about, and dedication, hard work plus patience. Like that part right there just really sticks out. And it also just like K Dot's verse, I think it's probably, he has some of the lines that stuck out the most in terms of like from the guests on the album, because when he said, you know, you do a song with Nip, you know, he a better Crip. And then he made it a point to say, nah, he's a better man. Like, look at the businesses, like all the things that he like the uplifting the community, the businesses, like it's bigger than Deuces and Foes, my niggas. Like Deuces and Foes, my niggas. Like it just, it just was the ultimate. Not, you know, because obviously they're around the same age, but Nip's like maybe just a little bit older, but it was just kind of just like at least the guy that made it out also coming back to just make sure he gave the ultimate cosign to the dude that was kind of going to be the next one in that same kind of line.
So here is the actual bar. It said, my nigga L said, you do a song with Nip, K Dot, he a better Crip. I said, he's a man first. You hear the words out his lips about flourishing from the streets to black businesses. Level 4 yard living given to false imprisonment. Listen close, my nigga, is bigger than Deuces and Fours, my nigga. Simply elementary, we close, my nigga. Yeah, straight like that. I give you the game, go back to the turf and give it right back.
Yeah.
K Dot, that was a great look for both of them, for totally different reasons, but it definitely helped Nip get some extra recognition, with Kendrick being one of the most famous MCs in the world. Probably as far as like, you know, active MCs, probably only Drake is more famous than him at this point. You know, is, you know, I mean, of course, you know, you got legends like Jay and, you know, those dudes, but yeah, man, dedication, that was almost made the list. I felt like you was probably going to pick that one, so I didn't. But I went back to Crenshaw, man. One of my favorite songs. You know, I'm not a huge R&B dude.
No, but I already know. I already know. But you're not a huge R&B dude. But this one particular lady, her music speaks to you. I know exactly where you're going with it.
So you already know. One of my favorite people, a shame I wasn't old enough for Miss Sade. I do. She is the snip snap snizzle. So the fact that Nip decided to sample,
first of all, dope track. Like
in the sample was perfectly executed. I gotta look this up because I meant to write down who actually produced it. Hold on. So that was If You Were Mine. It's featuring James Fauntleroy. It's from Crenshaw. Again, another reason why it's my favorite Nipsey project, but it samples If You Were Mine, which, you know, anybody that knows me knows that's my girl, so my woman. So, and it doesn't say who actually produced it, but whoever did,
Futuristics did a lot of the joints on there. I don't know if they did that one, but
that John, listen, man. You are, man, listen.
Yeah, no, but it's also one of those things where you just love to get those types of joints too, just because sometimes with the aggressive energy that's on that, sometimes it's good to just switch it up. And like you said, like Cherish the Day, you know, like you could put that joint on right now.
It's been running.
Like some of our favorite songs have actually like sampled that. So yeah, no, I already knew. Like I knew that was I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
that was on yours. So
and the producer was Jiggy Hendrix.
Okay.
So shout out to Jiggy Hendrix, man. He killed that in terms of like just like perfectly executing the sample and
yeah. Couple more because we each have 4 apiece so far. Couple more. We talked about the arrangement of Victory Lap and with it being like his debut studio album, but he was such a vet in the studio, and I guess with like putting out material that it seemed like he just used like all those years of just like shooting in the gym by himself and kind of getting those reps up. Like when he was ready, like he put together a well-arranged album, and just the way that he closed it with, if you're just looking at it just from the because it was just the regular retail, and then it was like the bonus track, like deluxe, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like that trio of the last 3 songs, Real Big with Marsha, Double Up with Belly and Dom, and then Right Hand to God, like those, like when you think about like how those songs sound together to end the album,
me, I'm big on. I can give you any great album. There's always a trilogy of songs that are bundled together somewhere on the album that just make
it a couple times though. Like when you start at the top and you go from Victory Lap into what's that Victory Lap? You go from Victory Lap into Rap Niggas, like we said, into Rap Niggas, and then Last Time That I Checked, and then Young Nigga Dedicate. Like he was gonna run at the top of the album to just start. But yeah, like to close it, like Real Big, like is like that was just like roll the windows down. If you got a sunroof, you open in the sunroof. Like that's a song you play at night. Like that's how when I envision album closers, like those are the joints that I want to play like in the whip by myself, like looking at the, and then like what he said in the chorus kind of fit,
Yeah.
Nighttime, Lokes on, can't even see the stars, but we still wish. Like it's just that type of music like that where you just hear and you're in the whip, like it just takes you to another place. You kind of
I might have to add that to the Summer Nights playlist.
Oh, that's it, man. Like just that chorus, man. Like like Lokes on, like can't even see the stars, but we still wish. Like that's just we're big on lyrics, so sometimes like we kind of nerd out a little bit.
Hey, man,
it's just
more people should be big on lyrics.
Certain things just stick out, and that definitely did. Of course, to put the angel, the angelic voice of Miss Marshall Ambrosius on there to kind of just put the cherry on top. I thought that was great too. So Real Big is definitely up there for me. And just my top. There's so many, but to just highlight that one, I just like how that was arranged on the album, man. It just was a great placement.
All right, and again, for me, I'm staying on Crenshaw, and one of the songs that really I like songs that I can relate to my everyday life, even if I don't live like these dudes. Certain elements of the songs that I can relate to my life, and one of the songs that I relate to, 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 a.m. Ironically, which samples Flowetry. They sample Say Yes on there. They kind of slowed it down or sped it up on one of them. But yeah, that's just talking that talk. Got a young lady. The nighttime's the right time, or the morning, depending on your perspective. So yeah, 4 a.m. is just like it's like a mood, and the 4 a.m. mentality is very alive and well in these parts. So yeah, man, that's always It's that right music.
All right, man. So we just named 5 apiece. We're gonna end it. Of course, we had to do 6. It's only right. But this is my absolute favorite Nip joint, man. Like this joint that I'm about to say, like, yo, like you said, like talking about Crenshaw. When I heard this, I was just like, yo, like, it's my nigga, yo. Like I told you, like my homie, my West Coast dudes, like they had been telling me about him for a while. And you know, me, like, you know, East Coaster to the end, and you know, not that where I live has anything to do with anything, but just how we were conditioned to listen to rap music is the reason why we love like Pharoah Monch, the reason why we love like Razzcast, the reason why we love like all these complex guys, Elzai, because of the way that they layered their bars and like you go back a week,
Meta Fives,
right? You go back and you listen to stuff like and you catch it 100 times, or sometimes. Even with that being the case, or how we were conditioned to listen to rap music, sometimes you just want it to just be raw and just in your face, and then just no metaphors. Like this is literally just this is it. And
how you live it.
Yeah. And summertime and that Cutlass is exactly what that means to me, because it's just no filler. Like is like even just the way that he's describing everything that he did with that particular car. And I love when people talk about certain like milestones in their life, right? So like when you think about that, just listening to the title of it, you think like, okay, like it's always summertime in Cali, whatever. But no, like the summertime means something. Like it's not March or it's not November and it's unseasonably warm. No, this is meaning like this is in July, like we just came from the barbecue, or yo, we about to go like, you know, whatever. Like this is summertime. This is something that we're gonna remember 20 years from now. And the one thing that you can always do with that is like, how did I get around that summer? Like, oh man, yo, my cousin used to pick me up, you know, like every day, or yo, I used to have to catch the train, you know, da 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 da. But when you have your own vehicle, especially something that people revere in the hood, is just a different feel to it. And that's exactly what it felt like when he was describing that. I mean, you know, but I'm just saying, like, it's just something about that. Just even how he started out the song, he's just like, yo, some LA shit, nigga, like Crenshaw and Sloss in 2003, like talking that talk. He just like, yo, nigga, young niggas getting money for real this time. And it's like, yo, like he felt that, like, yo, like when I got this car, like niggas couldn't tell me nothing, yo. Like yo, nigga, like like is, and you know, sometimes like it happens, like I said, like obviously with cars, but like with sneaks, it's just certain thing, whatever fits your sensibilities, whatever it is, like yo, niggas couldn't tell me nothing when, you know, when my beard finally grew in. And
or even it was just having access to a car,
right?
Not even just being like, you know, we often talk about the summer of Fizz, you know, the summer of '96, still the greatest, but but it was just it was picture it. But no, it was it's just it was being able to have access to a car, to be able, I mean, you're from VA, you know. In the summertime, if you're stuck, if you don't have it, this is pre-ride sharing, so, and then you still needed money for ride sharing.
But the one thing to that point though, like you said, like how I was saying, like yo, like I mean, if somebody had the wheel like that, that's they kind of was quarterback in the summer, like that was wherever they wanted to go, wherever they needed, as long as we could, you know, make that happen for them.
Yeah, hit them with some ducats for petrol, and then it's on. Let's like I always, I'm a love my dude Ron when summer right after graduation from high school. My dude Ron will always be my guy for life. You know, just he was the only one of us that had his own car, and he was ride or die. He looked out. He got us everywhere we needed to be that summer. It was right before everybody went their separate ways to college and everything. You know, me and B ended up, you know, at Hampton and Walt too, for that matter, and Ron with the Penn State, but it was just like, and my dude Pedro, who's another dude who really looked out. So, you know what I mean, but yeah, it's always, you know, they was the quarterbacks. That's a very, very great way to put it.
Look, you need me to block?
No doubt, man. I'll be like Orlando Pace.
Yeah, that's don't mess up the ride, please. Like, don't mess
man, up. Wipe your feet, nigga.
Yeah,
my man Carl like that, man.
But nah, but definitely my favorite Nip joint, man. You know, Summertime in that Cutlass. It was just like a glimpse into, like you said, 2003. You know, just kind of just really just seeing it. And I mean, just think about it, like 2003. He was like 17.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
85.
18.
Yeah. Well, he was born in August, so yeah. 17 about 18.
Yeah.
So like, and you know, like how his story goes, like he was like kind of heavy at that point, like kind of really in the streets like that. So yeah, so you know, he's 17, 18 years old, and he's pushing the cut dog. You know, so you know, obviously all eyes on him, but you know, that's I think that's the one that really just sticks out to me. If you're talking about his story and really putting together like a origin story, this is definitely one of the joints that you would want to play.
So that's kind of perfect that you mentioned that one, because if that's the beginning of the origin story, mine would be the elevation of that story, like the that moment where the story arc, so to speak. For me, it's is the title track, Victory Lap.
Yeah.
Victory Lap is, you know, one of those songs that for me is aspirational. Like I hear that, like regardless of any of the words that Nip is saying, when I hear that, I automatically want to do better. I mean, I want to be like, oh man, like I gotta keep grinding. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, but I mean, Nip said, you know what I mean, gotta get at it. You know what I mean? So that's motivation music for me. Like people put on, you know, trap shit when they go to the gym and all of that, or like whatever gets them hype, you know, that's my mental motivation music. That I hear that and I'll be like, yo, we gotta keep doing this. We gotta grind, you know. Yeah, we got 9 to 5s, but we gotta keep grinding for the shit that we love, because it will do what it's supposed to do, because cream always rises. So
one of the best lines on the album, fuck, I want to hear your CD for.
Yo, it's funny because we was listening and Chant was like, that's the best, yo.
Yeah, that says it all. Like I'm grinding myself, man. Like, you know, I can, he said, I can never view you as an equal. Fuck, I want to hear your CD for. Like that. Good gracious. Well, yeah, we all have felt like that before. So
yeah. Some of the shit we get in the inbox, but then
yeah.
But you know,
but to your point too, to kind of just, I mean, it is tragic, but to just hear some of the things that have been insinuated, and you know, just some of the whether you call it fake news or just some of the news that's been given to us, it's crazy to think that, you know, he actually said that I could never view you as my equal, right?
Yeah.
And then the situation, how it went down is, you know, allegedly this guy, you know, felt like he was slighted, or, you know, just felt whatever. He felt like he felt like he was, you know, kind of, you know, just in a spot where he just felt like he wasn't being taken seriously. Maybe I can never view you as my equal. Fuck, I want to hear your CD for. He was supposedly playing music for people, allegedly. If that's how the story goes, that is eerie, man. You know?
Yo, I mean, when you like shout out to Joe Budden and them. They did a dope podcast, like, you know, right after everything happened. But one of the things that I believe it was Joe said it, and I have been feeling the same way. You hear everything that Nip is saying with different ears.
Definitely.
I pick up on every little, like, yo, oh man,
like, yo, like the first time, because it took me a while. It took me a few days. Like I said, like, you know, this is music that I would listen to, like, you know, like maybe late at night, or either in the car, or either at the gym. Yo, Blue Laces came on, and I think I was on like treadmill. Blue Laces 2.
2 is the one, yo. Two is the one.
I was just like, all right, I can't listen to this right now, man. Like, yeah, like,
look. All right, so here's like, acid that nigga Nip Hood, what? Like, I won't take it right back with you. The same nigga that walked on the track with you. The same nigga that shot the strap with you. The same nigga that bought the sack with you. He stayed who he was all the way up until the end of his life.
Yeah.
It's just so many different, like, little lines that they just mean something totally different now, or maybe they always meant that, and I just hear them different now.
Yeah, you hear them different, yeah. And we have a lot more insight into just, you know, just where we are now. We have a lot more insight into things just based off of just like when, like my introduction was like, you know, bullets don't have no names and stuff like that. Like the information that I had was only so much. You know, I could only just go off of what I was hearing. But now, I mean, there's volumes of interviews, there's articles, there's, you know, all of this, you know, all of these tracks. So yeah, it's just different, you know, just kind of just hearing, and then, you know, just hearing him away from the mic. When you go back and listen to the music, it definitely, like you said, just kind of just hits you in a different way. I wanted to just talk about just a couple of a few moments, I guess, that stuck out. If people were looking for like interviews or like stories to read, like maybe they should check out. I'm just gonna just go through the list of mine real quick, and then, you know, you give yours. But like it was one of those things to where when we saw this, we were just like, yo, the infamous slap at the BET Awards last fall,
yeah,
where the security guard was saying that they couldn't park the vehicle in a particular spot or whatever. And dude, I guess he realized that probably wasn't such a good idea. Probably midway through his, you know, it probably just wasn't his brightest idea. He definitely caught, you know, a couple to the face.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
But it looks so crazy, like with some of the still shots that we saw, just because like you see this lanky dude, like, you know, like dude's hand is like the size of like a laptop. And you just see him just like dude real quick. Like it was just crazy just to just see. And you know, and to be honest, kind of in a selfish way, like with these rappers and stuff, like we kind of like to see them in action, like they talk that stuff. You know, like you kind of want to see them not necessarily like do anything that would be detrimental to them, but kind of just be like, yo, like I'm not for the BS, dog. Like, yo, like you can catch these hands like real quick. Like it humanizes them, you know, more than
it made people like and respect him even more because again, I believe him when he said the shit that he said, and that was, you know, more living proof.
Here another one was and this was crazy. You know, TMZ, you know, they're the vultures and whatnot, so they hover over these guys in California, particularly LA. But he was rolling up to the airport, and you know, he had the door open. He's about to go catch the flight, and he's just sitting there, just like smoking, just chilling, like just right in the middle. And like, you know, like anybody that's ever been to an airport, you know, like they don't let anybody they don't even want you to put your foot on the brake. Like they literally want you to like roll your passenger out. Like don't don't kiss your, you know, your husband goodbye, nothing.
Keep
like
it moving.
Yo, he was just maxing and relaxing in the backseat, smoking. You know, TMZ ran up on him, and he was just looking at him like he just gave him just like that kind of like, it reminded me of Snoop, just so chill. Like like this dude is, he's definitely enjoying the stickiest of the icky. Like it was just, it was just
feel good to be home.
Yeah. Another one, and this was really good insight for anybody that wants to see how he lived. Complex did a series back in 2014 where they were going with certain rappers. They called it the Neighborhood series. Rightfully so. They got with Neighborhood Nip, and he showed a lot of behind the scenes things to where you were able to see like some of the things that he was talking about in real life. You know, being depicted by him in the neighborhood, the Crenshaw district, to be exact. So that was really cool to see. Shout to Rap Radar, Elliot and B Dot, always doing good work. Their interview with Nip at the top of last year, right around when the album was about to drop, definitely, you know, just good work. And again, just good insight into who he was and, you know, what he stood for. The interview that he did in Chicago right after he walked off of Everyday Struggle, he was calling. We didn't really get a whole lot of footage of the Everyday Struggle, but we kind of heard about it. And, you know, he was just talking about how, you know, DJ Academics was, you know, was a geek. And, you know, just kind of just echoed a lot of sentiments that people felt. And, you know, it was just cool just to kind of just see him be so candid and just to hear how he walked out of it just because they weren't really, you know, he was just like, you know, I refuse to be in the presence of someone that's so corny. It's just always just a reminder for me and us, like we always want to just keep the integrity and make sure that, you know, we do things, you know, how we were raised by our parents and
man,
you know, people that love us.
Be outside yourself, man.
Yeah, you know, just to get some clicks and likes, you know, because it just, you know, it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't bode well for anybody. But ultimately, yeah, exactly. But ultimately, man, probably one of my favorite moments, man, that I implore people to take a look at was, again, just the title track, Victory Lap. He's talking about playing music at the Mayan ruins. They actually did it, and you actually get to see it, and it's in HD. And again,
that joint is
stupid, man. Like it's stupid. And
again, the best part that he's like, where we at again?
Yeah.
The Mayan ruins? Like I'm 99% sure he knew exactly where he was.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He wanted to let you know where he was.
He was like, Tankun. Yeah, that's right. But like, yeah, it's just very vivid. I don't know what camera they were using. I think it was like 6K. But yeah, it was dope, man. It really, again, for to kind of just see him talk about Victory Lap for so long, to know what, like what V and L means to his set, to his lifestyle, to see it be branded that way, to see him finally get to that point, and to see that video be what represents the title track for his, album that people have been waiting for so long, to see that be what it was, that really stuck out to me. And that was like one of the best moments. And I was like very happy for that dude to see all that hard work. And to be honest, to just survive, just to get to that point. I was just happy to see that, so yeah, man. Those are my moments that stick out to me. Definitely was dope just to see all of those things happen. And again, it's just, who he was, to us at least. And like you said, it just felt like the persona that we were getting was definitely authentic, and what people were probably getting that knew him a lot better than us.
All right, so mine were a little different than yours. I saw so many people posting different stories.
Ooh, I got one more too. I'm gonna wait till you finish.
No, go ahead.
Yo, so before I forget, but like one of my favorite partnerships, like we talked about him and YG, and like that was definitely like the big bro, little bro thing. But like one of my favorite guilty pleasures, so to speak, is Dom Kennedy.
Yeah, man.
Yo, that's my dude, man.
That's like Bobby, man.
Like that's like I felt like I've been to like Leimert Park, like
yo.
I've
shout out to Dorla too, man.
Yeah, but like I felt like I've been there before. So Dom posted something the other day, I think like maybe yesterday, and I think it was him and his kids. He had this big photo of him and Nip. He was on the couch and Nip was
laying on the floor,
passed out on the floor, right? And what was so dope about it to me was because like basically the person that put me on the Nip, man, my brother Rylan.
Yeah.
West Coast representative, like, he told me about Nip way back in like 06. Like, you gotta check him out. And we have like a kind of bonded over, a lot more obviously, but like that was like our thing. Like we would always talk about Dom though, right? So when he saw that, he hit me and was just like, yo, this picture is just crazy, just because he said that there's no better form of level, there's no better level of comfort that you can express than being comfortable to just pass out in front of somebody. Like, I know I'm safe. Yes. I know you got me. If something jumps off, I know I'm amongst love, right? They both were slumped in the presence of each other, and you know that they were working on something to get to this point where they were at right now. That picture right there had me like,
yeah,
and just to see him and his kids with the shirts on in front of the store, and like literally, if you look behind them, I mean, it's the biggest visual you've seen.
Yeah, and that picture delayed this podcast another day because I saw that and I couldn't even. I was just like, oh,
that picture is so dope to me, like
it is, man.
It shows just like the they literally were working to get to this point where they're at right now, or where they were, 10 days ago. Like that picture represents that. And to see Dom obviously have that picture, like that must be his favorite picture that he has of him. And to just see him kind of bring that to that particular site, that was just dope, man. I just like to see that, man. I'm big on brotherhoods. I feel like, your brother doesn't have to be someone, that you were born with or whatever. Like we develop these friendships. You and I, like, it's just dope just to just see that. And I know seeing that, like, he's gonna hold his dude down for life.
And again, I saw that and I was just because when you hear their music together, you hear like
Please Make It Home Safe.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, like that song.
That's
I heard that one, and I was just like, oh.
Yo, that's LA, yo. Like that is literally like that is
yeah, in my mind, I hear that and I hear Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I hear that song.
I mean, even from how we were just talking about like how certain instruments and the way that people freak certain instruments reminds you of that. Even the like that song is like you said, that song is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And where like where we're from, for example, like Virginia, like Philadelphia, like when the East Coast is, yo, be safe, my nigga, like be safe, my dude. Like LA has taken that be safe to stay dangerous. Like, please make it home safe.
Yeah.
Like don't just be safe, but like make sure like you do what you got to do to just get home at night. And like you said, like that song just.
And I'm glad you mentioned the donkey, because that's kind of where I was. These stories, man, like that I've heard. and they've all been, you know, a lot of them were videos.
Yeah.
So, cause you know I didn't want it to be like, you know, like March 9th where everybody's saying they were supposed to be there,
Right.
they were there. These are things that actually happened. You got video footage for most of them. You got text messages, like couple. I'm gonna just mention a couple of them that really stood out. The first one, you know my affinity for the locks and everything locks related. So Styles is, you know, to be a public figure, he's a pretty private dude. So him to share his personal text messages with Nip, obviously that it impacted him, but to see their just to get like some insight into their convo, and to my knowledge they've never worked together, but you could see that they had a real recognized real tight understanding to where they just
like, I'm good, I just need some juice, my
yeah, he's like, we'll take care of everything else, I just need some juice. He's like, I got you, whatever you need.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, they were talking about, like, I guess a situation had arose when Styles was out in Cali, but regardless, that was just dope. And then a couple like I guess, for the lack of a better term, regular people, where like it was this woman who wrote about her husband, who said this shop owner always, you know, showed him love and asked him, you know, if he was hungry. He was a telephone, like he worked on telephone wires, and he was working outside, and the shop owner would always come out and check on him. No, none of the other shop owners really did, but this one always did, and kept, you know, making sure he was cool. And then, like, long story short, the shop owner was Nipsey, and the guy, when he found out, he kind of broke down, and his wife is the one that posted the message about this. Like, he had no idea who Nipsey was. You know, he wasn't a hip hop. He was a white dude from Los Angeles. He just knew that this young black dude was nice to him every time he came through to do some work. So that was, so you could see the humanity in people from two totally different worlds. You know, that if he saw him, and if he saw Nip's persona on TV, he probably have a perception of who he thought he was based on how his image is presented on TV, you know, outside of hip hop. So that was dope to see. And then just some of the, you know, because, you know, I always try to find the good in anything. There were a couple that were just funny. Like it was one guy, it was like a OG in the neighborhood, and you could tell he had it kind of rough. And Nip saw him and was like, he was pushing a shopping cart. I gotta find the video so I can send it to you. And he was pushing a shopping cart, and Nip was like, yo, Nip pulls up, and he's in the Maybach. And he's like, yo, you need a ride? He's like, he looked like you talking to me? He was like, yeah, you need a ride? He's like, I can get in a Maybach? and he's like, yo, this rich rap dude is gonna let my black ass get in his, you know, $500,000 car. And he pushes the shopping cart, like just pushes it, lets it fly. And then Nip like, get it, nigga. And then they just go up, and then the rest of the video is Nip, you know, taking him to get his hair cut, taking him, getting him some clothes, and, you know what I mean, and it's just showing him giving back the way somebody, I imagine, did for him at some point. And that's the dude that I'll always remember. Not the last images. I still haven't seen it. I won't ever see it. That's how I'll remember him. And then there was another one. He was at an in-store, which is, you know, an amazing in this day and age to even still have in-stores. But he was signing autographs and everything. I'm pretty sure it was for Victory Lap. And then the dude, he sees another OG dude, and he's like, He's like, yeah, man, you real motivating. Thank you. He's like, yeah, he's like, yo, come check out. He was basically going to help him get a job. He's like, yeah, he's like, hit me on Twitter, Instagram. He's like, I gotta get one. And Nip, before he could get it, I gotta get one. He's like, what you waiting on this free nigga? Yeah. in his perfect West Coast accent. And me and the champ, we saw it, and it's the funniest thing. And he's like, it's free nigga. And it just made me smile so much right in the middle of one of the worst things that happened to me probably since Big L, for different reasons, but just the stupid loss of life.
Yeah.
And
the one thing to just add to that, and I was thinking about this earlier, like nobody represented 139 in Lennox like Lamont Coleman.
Exactly. And
nobody represented Crenshaw.
Yeah, and they literally died in the places that they loved, the places that were the quote unquote supposed to be the safe havens, that was supposed to be home base. You know, you're not supposed to be able to get touched on home base, man.
Like what's crazy about that is like people always be like, "Oh man, Big was wilding. Like he should have been home. He should have been home." Like,
yeah,
it doesn't. I mean,
what was he doing in New York? And you know, and it doesn't matter. Jam Master Jay got killed in his studio. It's one of those things, man, that like I was telling the champ, this reminded me of Big L. To me, Nip was, you know, more advanced in his progression of his career than L was. L still he died younger, but he was like at the start. This was like L was like pre-victory lap. Like if victory lap never happens for Nip, that's kind of where L was at that point. So that's kind of how I liken those. But that's the last time I felt like how I felt last Sunday, and it was just like, but one of the other moments in just wrapped the two more, the GQ interview.
Dope.
One of the, and I literally had just read it on Saturday before all this happened. For those that are unaware, Lauren London, you know, Nip's better half, she was the interviewer for GQ, and she interviewed him, which was just cool. You got to see some insight. You got to see their bond and their closeness, but you got him to answer questions that he probably wouldn't have answered if anybody else was asking him. So it's definitely a dope read. Definitely worth checking out. That's on GQ.com. It's in the actual physical magazine as well too.
It's on YouTube too. The video of it.
Yeah, the video clip, and then the other thing, talking about bonds and partnerships. Another one of our fallen heroes. Nip and Karen Civil were on Combat Jack a few years ago. It's my favorite Nipsey Hussle interview because it was the first time for me that I really started to get it. It was more than the music. Like, this dude wasn't just saying this stuff for the records. This was him. This was his movement. This was his life's work. And you started to understand that, and then you started to see this is a brilliant dude. He took, you know, some life experience and some studio equipment, and he's gonna change the world. He was, I believe, he was the next evolution of what Tupac was intending to do. Pac never got the chance. He got cut down, 24, 25 years old. Nip is 33, so he got basically almost a decade more time to, you know, further the mission. I think the Pac's whole thug life, you know, mentality and strictly for my niggas, all of that, Nip embraced that and took it those actual steps of actually manifesting it in the neighborhoods. So you got all of that from that Combat Jack interview. You got to see where Marathon comes from, what that means, and how that connects to his life and the music and that whole mindset, where it all comes from. You got to see, you know, how brilliant of a person Karen Civil is, and how she was smart enough to recognize that this dude he's the one, you know, and I need to do whatever I need to do to help him reach, because he's going to change the world. And I 100% believe if, you know, these events don't happen, he makes those changes that are the lasting kind. He was going to be the manifestation of what Tupac was hoping to do.
Yeah.
You know, and he had already started. It was, you know, shout out to Jim. He was buying the hood. He bought the hood. He owned the whole strip mall where he took his last breaths. You know, restaurants and barbershops and, you know, the clothing store. So tons of real estate. He was doing what we all want to do, what we all preach to do, to better ourselves. And yo, man, I like I said, this one is different, man. It just hit me in a totally different way. It's you know me. This happened on a lighter moment. Duke had just lost. I know you love that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, for those that don't know us, if you don't know me by now, where have you been? I'm Carolina Nevada's Duke, you know, to the end. So natural, you know, to the death arch rivals in terms of college basketball. They lose in the tournament. Our automatic first instinct is to, you know, all the Twitter jabs, and, you know, we give each other, you know, good ribbings.
Yeah.
And right before the game was, you know, it was about to be over, we get this news, and it's not really confirmed, but the person that told us, he doesn't really. If he says it, it's probably, you know, he's probably already done the fact checking and the initial fact checking.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things you didn't even want to believe it. You know, maybe somebody got it wrong, and then the reports just start flooding in. And I didn't even care about nothing. That basketball shit didn't matter, man. I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. I just kind of sat here and just didn't move for like 20 minutes. And then I went upstairs to tell Champ, because I know she was like laying down, and I felt bad even telling her, because I know how she likes Nip, and it was like telling her, like, you know, a friend of ours.
Right. Yeah.
You
definitely.
know, so that's the feeling that I got, and it just.
Yeah, I had to go for a walk, man. Like when it finally was like confirmed or whatever, like I just grabbed my keys. I just was just like, I don't even feel like driving. I'm gonna just go for a walk. And as soon as I step out of my house, my neighbor from across the street, she's pulling out, she's backing out of the driveway, and she rolled down her window, and I knew what she was about to say. Like I could just tell, you know. She rolled down her window, and like we just made eye contact, and we was just like kind of just like looked at each other, and just like it was just a moment where like she needed to be on her way and I needed to go for a walk. Kind of just paused for a second, and I like
that acknowledgement of like, yeah,
like it was just like she was just like, you heard, and I was just like, yeah, I just need to go for a walk. She's like, yeah, I'm on my way to yoga now. Yeah, I don't even know. And that was it, you know, like that was literally like the extent of the conversation. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things to where I think just from our standpoint, we you know, we kind of just shared some of our experiences. We hope that you know, just as we move forward, I think we have an understanding of what's going to happen on Thursday. They sold out the Staples Center, at least for the services. There's going to be like a 25-mile processional. They said, you know, just, you know, kind of just transporting him. So, you know, these moments are never easy, obviously, for, you know, for Lauren and then his kids. And then, you know, just everybody, his brother, his sister, his mom had some real positive things to say about him on camera that have kind of been making their way around. You know, it's just, you know, our hearts, thoughts, prayers go out to him. And, you know, obviously his family and, you know, just everybody that was touched by his music, his words, you know, like we're saying, like, even if you didn't bang with the music, but you know, respected him or liked him just as a person, you know, that speaks volumes itself too. You know, it's just as time goes on, and you know, we see, you know, this they're trying to say, you know, who did what allegedly, and you know, people are already getting representation, you know, to defend, you know, something that's just indefensible.
Yeah. You know me, I'm not I'm not somebody that thinks that you know everybody should be forgiven. Like it, I hope bad shit happens to dude. I'm just gonna say, like, bottom line, it's just what it is. Like, because he took away something that was way bigger than any bullshit slight or perceived diss or whatever you want to call it. So regardless of whatever, and you know me, you know that just the way Nip was taken, that has a particular impact for me, because just knowing how his kids, especially his younger kids, like losing your dad, like that's, and being taken that way, they'll never know certain things. They'll never get to live certain things, and they'll have plenty of the memories and the videos and the music, and but still, man, like that part of it, anytime something like that happens, that always gets to me for those kids, man. So as far as dude goes, like,
to that point, like you're talking about, you know, going to tell your wife about it. Same thing with me. Like, I didn't even bring it up. Like, I let her see it herself, and not because she was the biggest Nipsey fan, not at all. But again, to your point as well, she shares a story similar to yours in terms of being, you know, a very young girl, and you know, having her father taken away in a manner much like Nip. So I'm very sensitive when it comes to like sharing things such as gun violence and, you know, things that have to do with that, just because, like you're saying, like you've lived it, I've seen it, you know, on a personal scale as well, to seeing the impact of it to certain things that just haven't happened in her life just based off of that. Like, you know, it's just, you know, it's just tough to even describe, like, to have, you know, like your parent taken away like that.
Yeah,
obviously in any manner is just not, no, but you know, at the hands of someone for something that, like you said, could definitely just be perceived or misconstrued or, you know, just unnecessary. Just, you know, it's just tough, man.
and it was eerily similar, which made it even. It was rough, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like it, like as I started to get details, and every time I got a new detail, it just was like, damn, man. Like it's a continuous cycle that is never going to, seemingly never going to go away. There's always going to be people who always have to take take the minuscule and react with the extreme. But all that, man, one thing, as long as we're here, as long as, you know, our culture is rock solid, Nip will not be forgotten. The tremendous amount of love, which most accounts appears to be genuine. That's a beautiful thing to see, man. Like I said, these countless stories, and like, and again, these aren't just people just telling tales. There's actual, like, documented things of encounters with Nip and things that he's done for them, or, you know, that they've been a part of, that he was involved with. And it's just, he was a person that lived in a world that, you know, because you hear a lot of people say, oh, he was in a gang, and first of all, nobody has gone through life without doing something that they wish they could take back, or they regret, or anything. And very few people actually make amends for those things that they wish they could take back. On top of that, people, when they do choose to make amends, they tend to try to better themselves, which is where you want to start, but they usually stop there. What Nipsey was doing, not only did he better himself, but he was bettering the people around him. He was bettering the neighborhood and environment around him. He was affecting change on a mass scale. So when you're doing things like that, you're doing God's work. And regardless of what you believe in, what that man was doing was God's work. If you've ever been to California, particularly those parts, he was doing God's work. So I will always represent for Nip, you know, as long as we have this platform, and even if a time comes and we don't, I'm still going to rep for him, and I know you will too.
Yeah, man. Definitely want to thank everybody for rocking out with us. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this was just a little therapeutic for us, you know, just in terms of just being connected to someone that we didn't know personally, but definitely had a connection to nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's one of them crazy things, because you know, in my quest to try to get us guests, he's definitely somebody I reached out to. I mean, it didn't happen, and it's just what it is. But I tried. Yeah. I you know, so we gonna put this out, and we got the playlist out, and
yeah, we got more things planned too, man. It's not just a one-off thing. So I just want to say again, thank you to everybody out there listening. Thank you for rocking with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being kind to one another, and you know, thank you for also, you know, just getting up every day and doing what you got to do. Like he's saying, like dedication, hard work, and patience. These are all things that we shouldn't take, you know, for granted. The ability to be able to not only make your life better, but make someone else's life better, in the course of your daily interactions with, you know, people, in the world. Man, on that note, man, you know, I really only got one thing to say, man. You know, all money in. You know,
yes, sir, man.
No money out.
And as the great said, we connected at the bottom like a V, you know.
Yeah.
And we doing this for him. So on that note, he would want us to keep running the marathon. So
yeah, it continues.
It's never gonna stop.
With extra laps.
Work for the money, live for the love, die for what you believe in. This is Tissue on the Tape. Please respect heat holders. Rest in power, Nip.